This is the immortal PHAROAH, INAROS. Clickbait? No, definitely not. In this video, I will show you the build that will make INAROS unkillable. Yes, this is a tank build for INAROS that will give you immortality, and, since this is a tank build, you will most likely be limited to survivability. But, don't worry, as I will share my setup also for killing high-level enemies with this INAROS build. In fact, you can take this build to endgame levels, like long survival runs, or even go solo on survival arbitrations. I know you are excited now, so let's begin this video. Let's discuss first about the INAROS build. So, this was my first mod setup for this frame, and you can copy this build if you don't have an arcane grace yet. Basically, aside from the very high health pool, this build takes advantage mostly of INAROS abilities, except for Sandstorm. I choose to have range and duration on this build mainly because I want to take advantage of Scarab Swarm's healing capability. This build may have a lot of health pool, but it will be useless if we don't have any healing abilities. Which is why I choose to have both range and duration so I can heal myself, and crowd control at the same time with the help of his fourth ability. And yes, I have the adaptation mod on this mod setup. Just like Oberon, this frame can't effectively heal without any damage mitigation. Good thing that Digital Extremes decided to release a mod which helps almost every frame have 90% damage resistance. Best part is, this mod makes INAROS beyond immortal. Like I have said earlier, this mod setup is for those who doesn't have a fully max rank arcane grace yet. But, what if you have an arcane grace? Better yet, what if you have two set of max rank arcane grace? If you can afford arcane grace, then this is the mod setup I highly recommend having for INAROS. 8k HP will definitely boost the healing of arcane grace, especially if you have 2 max rank of this arcane. And yes, of course, the adaptation mod stays, and I will forever equip this on my INAROS just because the damage mitigation is really good. Also, I have rage in this build. It's not actually necessary, but, since I don't have any extra mod slot, and I don't have any mods to add on this build, I choose to have rage so I can restore my energy. Yes, I can form this build again, and place a V polarity on the aura slot to equip steel charge, but the thing is, I really need enemy radar, especially in solo endurance runs in arbitration mission. I don't know if you notice this, but this mod really help when it comes to enemy pathing. The enemy spawn in arbitration right now is kinda clunky. I don't know if Digital Extremes intended to make it this way, to add more challenge, but when you are doing solo survival on arbitration missions, then I advise you to have enemy radar. Okay, let's get back to the build. Now Vigor can be replaced with primed Vigor, but if you like doing things solo, then I suggest that you stick with the ordinary Vigor, as you will definitely have to form the aura slot to place steel charge in here. And lastly, I have negation swarm. I know, you might say, what the fuck squad leader, that's a redundant mod as you have adaptation already. Yes, I feel the same way at first, but the thing is, negation swarm doesn't help only in resisting some damage status effects, but it also helps in resisting being knocked down. I really hate being knocked down by enemies as the animation to get up is quite slow, and placing sure-footed or prime sure-footed is really not a good option. Negation swarm is way better, as not only that you can resist being knocked down, but also, you have an extra layer of survivability because it can also resist other status effects inflicted by the enemies. If you are worried that it will contradict with the adaptation mod, then don't, as it works well together. Now I have stress test this build on solo arbitration, against infested and Grineer factions, and so far, it live up to its hype. INAROS refuses to die with this mod setup. Now, I haven't tried it yet against Corpus faction, due to time constraint, but if I can record a footage on that this week, then I'll share it to you immediately. But as you can see in the background, these level 125 Corpus units can't even kill this frame. I know the simulacrum is not a good place to show off the real potential of a build, and in fact, it can't even simulate the knockdown resist of negation swarm, but this is a good preview on what this build can do against this faction. Okay, we are done with how to make this frame immortal. Now, let me share my setup for INAROS in killing high-level enemies. You can choose to have your favorite endgame weapon if you please. Apparently with this build, your weapon will take care of the killing, while INAROS will take care of the survivability part. But the thing is, not all weapons scale really well at endgame levels. In fact, Some of them need driven mods with god rolls to be good in endgame levels. The best thing you can do is go with a melee setup for INAROS. Now, this is just a suggestion, but if you can, then craft a heavy blade saw. In my case, I have my favorite Freed's Greatside, which is composed with the Aquana JI2 link, tongue grip and Dorkram strike. For the mod setup, I usually run a hybrid status and critical build. These two dual status mods over here are replaceable, and you can choose a different dual status mod depending on what element you need to kill a certain faction much faster. Primed Reach is really good for this build, as it synergies really well with the Tempo Royal stance, and with the Exodio Hunt Arcane. This Arcane is not really necessary, but it's really helpful in pulling enemies. And also, Tempo Royal is a personal preference, and you can choose to have the Cleaving Whirlwind stance, to take advantage of the Broken Bull combo. In my case, I use Tempo Royal for now, as this stance combo are much easier to pull off, compared to Cleaving Whirlwind's Broken Bull, but probably, that would change after Melee 3.0 I guess. Remember, this Zor is only my personal preference, and you can equip your endgame melee weapon if you want. Aside from the melee weapon, try to equip your Adaza Cavat if you have it. This cat can do wonders with INAROS, with the high amount of HP it has. When you equip the Link Health mod while using INAROS, you can take advantage of its cat eye mod like almost every time. In my case, I usually land red crits whenever this mod proc, and that's most of the time, due to the fact that I can keep my cat alive with the help of that high amount of HP, plus the pack leader mod. The last piece of advice I can give is, since this build really doesn't need energy, then I advise you to run with the Naruman Focus. Its Power Spike branch is really good when it comes to melee setup, as it helps you build your combo counter. Again, this is just a suggestion, and, if you like to imitate what I have done on solo arbitrations, then these are the things you need. But, don't treat this guide as a bible, but make it a reference on creating your own INAROS build and setup for endgame levels. In fact, I did not make this guide so you will rush on getting all these stuff, and playing purely INAROS. This guide is meant to guide you, and not hate yourself that you don't have the pieces needed to copy this setup. With this video, you know what to get, and how to build your INAROS at endgame levels. Remember to have fun in this game and don't stress yourself on rushing things that you don't own yet. There are other warframes that can be super efficient in endgame levels, and, if you need some tips on how to build them, then just search for the video on this channel. So that's it. I hope that you find this video informative. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed watching this video, and subscribe for more Warframe content. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.